Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So guys, today we will learn about the web method questions and answers part B. So part A I already uploaded on the same channel, you must watch. And also if you are guys new in my channel, so please subscribe, comment and share. So before wasting a time, we will start the today's demonstration part A. So 14 questions I already uploaded. You must watch, and we will start question number 15. So your question is the package management interface of the web method integration administrator can be used to create a package dependency. Package dependency can be used to. So question specifies that basic purpose of a package dependency. So if you ensure that a specific web method integration server packages are loaded before the depending packages load. So let's say you created one flow service, and in that flow service you invoke one Java service. Okay. So one service invoking another service invoking a third one, fourth one, fifth. So that case, if you need to mention the package dependency and which is option is available in properties. So once you click on the particular package name, after that properties option is there. Over there you can mention the packages details. Like you need to mention over there the package and version, and you can submit the details. So that way you can answer this kind of questions. So why package dependency is mandatory? If you are deploying your code from one environment to another environment, and at the time of deployment, sometimes we causing a error at a dependency, package dependency, a document related issue. So that time we required package dependency. Sometimes like your code running on a Windows system, and if you want to like client want to your code on a Linux. Okay, so that time also the in version control system also the package dependency comes in a picture. So this kind of a question you need to answer. Ensure that a specific web method integration server packages are loaded before the depending packages load. That's why the package dependency is mandatory. Okay. So let discuss the 16 number question. If I have to move packages from one integration server to another, which process would you suggest? Is it through a WM deployer or some other processes like publish subscribe? So the answer is yes. The best way to move migrate packages is through the WM deployer. So admin page, once you log in your admin page, there are the deploying option is there. So with the help of you can migrate your packages from one environment to another. Now the 70th question, should we and how we can archive the derived files? So yes, we can archive the derived files by two ways. So we can do the integration server admin as like admin page package management, and their archive option is there. Okay. So once you archive the packages, then the package will place in the outbound folder. Okay. So those details you can once you click on your instances and once you follow the path over there, the outbound folder is there. So those files in the format of a zip you can check. Okay, so in developer export as a zip file also option is available. Like once you like on a designer page, like developer, it means designer page. You can also check. You can export option is there. With the help of you can migrating your packages. One like you can archive the derived files by two ways. One is from package management. Second one is from derived file from exporting to exporting as a zip file. Okay, now let me open the second slide. So 18 number question is how to move flow stack. So you already aware about if you are experienced person, no need to this is very easy question, but at like if you are a beginner in the web method, so this kind of a question you need to answer. You can inform them like with the help of arrow button on editor panel. we can move the selected flow step up, down, left or right. Now the 19th question, what is meant by replicate services? So when you archive the packages, the replicate services will execute. Okay. So as I said, the package management option, like in package management, there archive option is available. So once you archive the files, that case replicate service will execute. Then the 20th question, how to invoke a service from browser. So the URL is available, http colon double slash server name. It may be localhost or it may be your server name colon port slash invoke slash folder dot subfolder dot slash service name. Let's say http colon double slash server name is your localhost colon port is double five slash invoke slash your folder name is my folder, your my pack, and dot you can mention your service name. So that way you can answer this kind of a question. The package name is not part of the URL in the way. So it means, as we said, folder dot subfolder. So here we didn't mention package dot a folder dot a subfolder. Here we mention only slash folder dot subfolder slash service name. Okay. Then 21 question. When you create and save the flow, my.pack colon myflow in the mypack package, where will you find the code? So this kind of a question also, this is if you guys try to complete your certification in web method professional, so this question also ask, so you can note it down, this is very important question. So where will you find the code? The answer is your installation directory. This is your instance name slash integration server slash instances slash default slash packages. Then my pack, this is your package name slash ns slash my, this is a folder slash pack, this is a folder slash my, like pack, this is a service slash my flow service name slash flow dot xml file. Okay. So you can check. So before that you can create one empty flow service and follow the path on the installation directory, so you can check over there. Okay. Then let me open the third slide. Question number 22, what is an element? So element is a nothing but atom which is existed in the package navigator panel. So like flow services folder, java services, so except package and a server, all the elements like document types, then flow steps, all the elements you can consider as an element in web method. So if you are preparing a resume and that there are one like you need to mention the tools and technologies, right? So in tools you can mention the web method elements as well. So those kind of element, interview might ask this question. So this is a very simple question. And 23 number question, can we multi-select elements to lock or unlock in the navigation panel? Yes, but selection cannot contain the server, folder, or package, and its contain package any other element. Okay. Now the 24 number question, describe startup and shutdown services. So startup services, we can see startup services in a package properties. So startup services is a services integration server automatically execute when the package load into the IS memory, integration server memory. And when startup services execute, the first one is when IS start or restart, when reload the package, third one when deploy to the target server, then fourth one if the package is disabled and when you enable the package. Now what is meant by shutdown services? When a package release, unload package from the integration server memory, shutdown services executed. Let's say your integration server shut down, and that a time if you close this session, that a time this particular service will execute. Okay, so the answer is when the package release slash unload package from integration server memory, shutdown services will be executed. And when integration server shutdown restart, this is the first one. Second one, when you disable the packages, this is second. And third, when you reload the packages. Okay, so this is also very important question. You can note it down. Then the question number 25, by how many ways can we invoke a service? So the first, using a invoke step within the web method ID. Okay, so while creating a flow service, if you want to invoke the inbuilt services, so just right click, check invoke option is there, and if you want to invoke the services, you can just type it and check those services which is available in web method, you can invoke it. So there is a second way, using a transformer in map step. Third one, using remote invoke built-in service, can invoke the flow service from other web method environment. Fourth one, using service dot do in Java service. Like if you implementing the Java service, so that case you need to remember service dot do invoke. This is an inbuilt service. Then fifth, using web service, consuming web service provider operations. Then six, using web method supported protocol like HTTPS. Let's say example HTTP colon double slash host name colon port number slash invoke slash namespace. And the seventh, using publish subscribe mechanism in web method. So you already aware about the PubSub model. If you required a more video on this topic, so upcoming I'll make some video on this PubSub model, so you can watch. But it has some time. So then the it number in BPM, using CAP application invoking the flow service through the web service call. Then 9, using scheduler in web method. Then 10, using file polling in web method. Also using startup and shutdown services. So how many ways can we know services? So like apparently you can remember the fourth or fifth. Those are important, like using transformer map step, using invoke step, using when scheduler, using scheduler in web method, yeah, file pulling, you can say startup and shutdown services. Okay, so basically this is a very important question. Might interview ask this kind of a question. Okay, then question number 26, what is a lock? So in web method, like if you design some code and if you want to modify the code instead of another user, if you want to my only, like if you want to like modify this code, so the log property is there. So once you click on the right click log for edit, so particular service is log and it is available, it is available for you to modify it. Okay, so the two types of logging actually. First one is user log and second one is a system log. So when you create a new element, it is automatically logged by the user because it is a restrict by the user. When you want to modify the element, it should be logged. And second one is system log. For it, only file system log will apply. It is automatically done by the server side files. Then the question number 27, how to know who has element lock. So to know who has logged the service or a document, etc., right click that particular service or document and select log properties from the menu displayed. Okay. Now we'll start, we'll see the question number 28, how to remove a system log from an element. So system log can be removed by making the server side files of the element as readable. So right click of the particular element on the developer, it means in designer, which is system log, and choose the log properties. Okay, so it will display the server side files for the element. Make the files as readable and click the refresh button in the developer. in the designer, you will find the element is no more lock. Okay. So question number 29, when to lock an element. So when you want to make a changes to the element, at a time you can lock the element. When to unlock the element, when you are taking a build while deployment, you have to unlock the element. Let's say you are deploying a code from one environment to another with the help of a deployer option, which is available on a integration server admin page. Okay, that case you need to create a build. You need to select your packages services as well. And let's say you are like locking the particular service. That case you facing some challenges to deploying the code. So before that, you need to unlock the particular element, particular service, particular document. Like a particular service, you can need to unlock. You can refresh the page, reload the page, and then come to deployer page, and then create a build, refresh it, and you can continue your deployment. Okay. So this kind of a question you can answer. Then let me open the another slide. What happens when a client run a service with the ACLs? So ACLs means access control list. So the integration server check the access control list assign service if the client is a member of an allowed group and it is not a member of a denied group, then server execute the service. If the client is not member of allowed group, then integration server denies the request to init the service and stop executing. Okay. Then question number 32, how ACL affect locking. So basically ACLs are used to give the authorization to the particular user group. If you give ACL to administrator, then the admin group user who are there in that group, they can have the access. So to that particular service, otherwise we cannot use it. So this is called a ACL locking. So in admin page, the ACL option is there and allowed group, create a user or denied group. So you need to select a particular like developer, anonymous, yeah, default. Those options are available. So you can select so that all this kind of group member which is access the particular service, particular packages. Okay. How to create an ACL? Create a user after add that user into particular group. After select ACL and add group into allowed list. Read or write or execute or list ACLs. So this kind of activity you can do in your designer. Once you click on your click the packages. After that, you need to the option is available to read write the ACLs. So you can check in designer. Then question number 34, explain audit logging. So the answer is when you execute the service, we can have an internal database. We can audit the service log. So let's say you're working on MWS, and that case we required a database. Okay. So for that purpose, we need to check the properties. Like once you click develop your service, then you need to check the properties. There are option is available success. Yeah, when you audit, when you want to audit the particular service, so save option is like success at the time you need to audit, a failure you need to audit, success and failure. Yeah, even top level services at that time you want to edit. Yeah, including pipeline data you need to audit. So those kind of questions, once you so like check the audit logging option, or there those options are available. And for example, if you want to use a debug log in your service, debug log. Okay. And debug log basically used to write a message on integration server. Okay. And that case, if you select audit logging as a none, then you cannot see your messages on integration server. So that case, you need to select the particular audit logging properties as a save. Then you can check the, then you can run your service and then check the all the details on integration server, which is messages which is mentioned in your particular service. Okay. Now question number 35, and this is our last question. this PPT. So what is difference between a drop and delete variable? Sorry, there are a total 36 questions. So 35, this is the second last. So what is difference between drop and delete pipeline variable? So drop, it means runtime we need to drop the variable. So to increase the performance, we're dropping the variable, those unwanted variable in the service, we can drop at a real time. And delete the variable purely design time. It means drop performs explicit cleanup type of activities. And delete, let's say you take a variable but it not necessary unwanted variable. Okay, so you can delete it and it's a permanent deletion. And drop, it means if you drop the variable and those variable you required a second service, third service, so you can undrop it and use it the particular variable. And once you finish your step, then you can also undrop it the previous step variable. So the answer is delete is purely design time operation to remove the variable from the current view. It is only of use if you have created a variable that you didn't mean to create. And if you delete a variable that was there because it was previously in the pipeline. When you change the view in developer, you will see the variable appear again. Okay. And the question number 36, and this is the last question today's demonstration. So advantages of a map flow step. So to perform the specified editing option on the pipeline, such as a mapping variable in the pipeline, adding variable to the pipeline, dropping variable from the pipeline, initializing input values for a flow services, also hard coding the state value. So you already aware about if I want to implement the branch statement, yeah, branch condition, and I drag and drop the branch step. But if you want to design your code, then map step is required to copy paste the particular element, particular document list, sorry, document, yeah, document elements. So that purpose to to replicate the pipeline, we must require the map flow step in a my method. So guys, thank you so much. So that's all about today's video. So if you like this video, so please subscribe to my channel, also share, comment, and also share with your friends. Do valuable comment. Also click on notify button. So I am uploading the another videos on this same on this channel in upcoming weeks, yeah, upcoming days. So please subscribe and have a great day. Stay happy and stay connected. Thank you so much.